When the final bell rings, there is only one place to go.
Wrestling Unwrapped.
To the max!
Welcome, everybody, to a W2M Extra. This is NXT Takeover Brooklyn 2. That's right, the big show that we've all been waiting for. We finally get a chance to talk about it. I am totally ready to get into this thing and talk about every match that they had on the card because, trust me, a lot of great things happened. We'll be getting into that, but to do that, we have our full panel a part of this, and so we want to go ahead and introduce everybody. I'm your host, Gary Vaughn. Of course, I got with me co-host and core Mr. Paul Leeser.
Heyo.
And we have, of course, the other guy that does all the producing, and, of course, the other co-host, Mr. Sean Garmer.
Hola. ¿Cómo están? Muy bien. Okay.
And to do this with a full panel, you've got to have a couple of other guys who have lots of great opinions and some great stuff to bring to the table. So first, I want to introduce Wrestling Unwrapped, Mr. Patrick Ketza.
No sleep till Brooklyn, so why stop now?
And, of course, a NXT expert in his own right, a guy that loves the brand. We can't wait to bring you once again Mr. Chet Yoder.
NXT clearly took the cake this weekend.
Oh, man, you're telling me. So we're going to get into this pretty hot and heavy. I can't wait to talk about everything involved in NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2. But before we do that, I just want to let everybody know, of course, if you have not found us through the W2M Network, that is where we are located. That is a place you need to go subscribe to right now. If you're not done it, you can find other great shows just like them, not only just the Wrestling of the Max shows during the week, but you can also find other W2M extras. Like, guess what? We just did a Wrestling Unwrapped to the Max, and that was about SummerSlam. So we got into it. Everything about SummerSlam we've covered. We don't want you to miss that. So, hey, you can find us there as well. But tonight's all about NXT, so we can't wait to get into that ready. And so let's do it, guys. Let's go ahead and talk some NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2.
Hello?
We're here.
Sorry, y'all are there. I didn't feel like putting it on mute this time to do all that, because whatever. So, Gary, take it away after
No
y'all heard
mute.
us.
Yeah. Sorry, we go live.
Well, Chet kind of already said hello, and I was like, well...
It's okay. This is a live show, and so we do this by the seat of our pants. And we didn't inform Chet that we kind of do those musical breaks. It's okay. We are going to start out this thing with some of the biggest things that happened. I love doing this backwards because people get a chance to hear what they really want to talk about first. So let's get this thing done and talk about first Samoa Joe facing off against Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, we were all talking about this match previous because this was the one we were really unsure of the future of both these guys. Both these guys have the opportunity to move to the main roster. Who wins, who loses could determine that. That's a big deal with this. And so we're going to get into this. And let's go ahead and start with you, Chet. Nakamura wins this. It was a hard-fought bout. Both these guys put in so much effort. I loved this match. How did you feel?
I absolutely loved the match. I guess the build-up of the match kind of frustrated me with the whole, live violinist, on the rampway. I don't know. Some people like that arrangement, and I'm not trying to sound like Simon Cowell over here or anything, but, it just seemed a bit much for me. Let's just get to his introduction, because his introduction in itself is absolutely fantastic. So I just was kind of eager to get the match, underway. Acrobatic. Both guys were fantastic. Samoa Joe, it just continues to impress me week in and week out When he first started at NXT, I was kind of like, this guy's kind of like, I was kind of on the fence, but boy, he just keeps proving to me that he's going to be a superstar, and he's obviously going to be on the main roster sooner than we know it. And for Shinsuke, I mean, he put everything on the line. You know, he kicked out of some of the big finisher from Samoa Joe. You saw it coming. And you know, at the end, everybody kind of got what they wanted. You didn't know if Shinsuke was going to get pulled over, but I kind of was suspecting it, just like you guys, that Shinsuke was going to win this match. And at the end, boy, I mean, he put the Kinshasa on him for the second time, and oh my God, he laid into him on that second try, because the first attempt from him, it wasn't really like a complete Kinshasa. So the second one was like, boom, he got him good, and so I was very, very entertained, man. Like, this was the first time where I was kind of, first time in a long time, I was like that 5-year-old at a candy store where you're just kind of sitting there and you're just at the edge of your seat. You don't know what you're going to get, but there's so many good things to look at. And, I mean, Nakamura and Joe was just icing on the cake for me. It was a fantastic match, and obviously it ended with Shinsuke winning the title, and that's what I wanted. So I was thoroughly satisfied. What about you guys?
What do you think, Paul?
I enjoyed the match. I was just expecting, I think, so much more than what we got. But what we got was fine. This is a first time meeting, and you still get something that was pretty incredible. Chet pretty much hit all the high points. So I look forward to seeing him again, because I'm pretty sure this is going to be a rematch down the line.
Yeah.
Do you say that because you've seen so many Shinsuke Nakamura matches that you know he's got so much more to offer? Maybe that's why you feel this way?
No, I expected more out of Joe. Like I said on the preview, Joe has had a lot of experience wrestling big Japanese legends. He knows how to work the style. I'm not going to say Shinsuke is any different than what anybody else brings to the table, but it's their first time meeting between people. Sometimes you don't click right away.
This felt like we're doing a rematch here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, personally, just we have to understand that this is also WWE, and even though they let these guys do a lot more on NXT than I think normally we get to see, and we saw a lot on SummerSlam too, people being a little bit stiff with each other and doing some stuff we don't see from them too much, letting them go a little bit more than normally. But I think we're still not. I still, other than maybe a little bit during the Balor match, I don't think we've seen a full, except for with Sami Zayn. And even then, you're still, depending on who you talk to, we have not seen the full Shinsuke Nakamura turning it on, here he is match. Okay? So, and I don't know if we are going to get that until maybe he faces, like if he gets to face AJ again or something, when he gets in that big match that he's going to have. And perhaps this is meant to be this is the first time you're meeting each other, and we're going to have a bigger match down the line where it is sort of Joe is maybe, this is when Joe's going to get called up and it's the last time and Joe wants to leave it all there and whatever. But I think for what you got, for it being different than everything else that was on the show, I thought that was really, I enjoyed it. It wasn't necessarily like this great match you're going to be talking about forever, but it was still very, very good, and they had a little bit of a lull there in spots, but I enjoyed it because it wasn't trying to sort of outdo the two matches that already preceded it. It was trying to be its own thing.
Yeah, I think, while it was unlikely he was ever going to, match the sheer epicness that was, the Sami Zayn Nakamura match from Dallas, but this was a very, very good match. My thing was, it almost felt like the crowd was a little dead, or like the crowd was expecting more, because they seemed pretty quiet for a lot of the match, up until about the last 5 minutes. The crowd did not seem that into it overall, and, like I said, I've always said, for me, it kind of takes away from the match a little bit, but this was not a bad match by any means. And yeah, you're going to have some question marks when it's a first-time meeting. How's A going to react to B? How are you going to, pull this off and everything? But I thought they pulled it off rather well. And also to Chet's point about Nakamura's intro, I think what also didn't help was you had the violin plus Nakamura's music plus the crowd, and everyone was trying to fight, and it got annoying.
I don't know. I mean, it was just maybe I just thought it was too much, and as if they were trying to kill time here, and it was just I don't know, man. It was just too long. It was just. I mean, it was like Undertaker's intro where it just goes on. Well, maybe not that long, but nothing's that long. But I mean, that was just too long. But I don't know how you guys felt about that whole entrance.
For me, I went along with everything else that they were doing on this NXT show. A lot of the entrances were grandiose and big and whatever, and this is Brooklyn, and this is what you do, and nobody really does an entrance that's on that NXT right now quite like Shinsuke Nakamura, so they were hyping it up huge, and having the violinist there and all that was to me it was really cool. Right.
And there was a good point made about the crowd too. They were not into it the whole night. And then we could talk about that throughout the other matches. I felt like I was at NXT Takeover Dallas. I sat second row on the floor. I got lucky in that regard. And I mean, I believe we were more into it as a crowd for the whole night. And I don't know if that was maybe the arrangement, the setup. The Barclays Center was bigger, and I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying they weren't into it the whole night. So maybe it took away a little bit of that mystique from the NXT Takeover.
I mean, Gary and I were there too, and it being smaller kind of does help with that.
It definitely does. Very much intimate. I mean, everybody in that place was a hardcore fan. If you had casuals, they were definitely in the minority when it came to that group. But the Barclays Center, I think they did have, they had a good group, but like you said, it does take away having a bigger venue for.
I mean, they were still a step above the Full Sail crowd, though. They were into almost everything. I just think, like what Paul said, I think, and you said, Chet, it was people expecting something else, and they got what they got, because if you're trying to outdo what you got in the other two matches, they're gonna have to go way out of the zone that they wanted to do for this match, and that might be an issue, know.
And we keep going in a circle because I want to say something about the violinist real quick. I'm fine with who that guy was. I think that they should have had the girl from the YouTube video. I don't know her name, but she does an amazing job. I mean,
of course, awesome. Yes, she needs to. But she deserves to be like a WrestleMania or something like that. I don't know about this being a next.
Well, maybe they tried to get her and she couldn't come. I mean, nothing against that guy who did it anyways. I mean, he did a great job. It was just, let's get to the match.
Too long. I agree.
I think it would have gone a lot smoother if they gave him a version of Nakamura's theme that did not have the violin in it. Because it was the live violinist going against the violin in the song, and he was a beat or two off at times. I think it would have gone a hell of a lot smoother and a hell of a lot better if he had an instrumental version of Nakamura's theme that did not have the violin, so he wasn't going against it.
Right.
Yeah, very true. So we'll get back to music theory in a minute, but we're.
I will say that Nakamura was really cool, like him doing his stuff around the violinist and all that kind of stuff too.
The best part, and I don't want to keep going on about this. The best part about it is the crowd singing it. I mean, that's obviously phenomenal. I mean, they started that I think at the end, NXT the end, and I thought that. I mean, I don't know about you. I'm singing it at home. That's how much I'm into it as well, with my hand motion, and I'm dipping and diving just like him, and so I think it was fantastic.
Every time my Nakamura comes on, my wife thinks that I'm having a seizure, almost calls an ambulance. I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm just doing the whole thing. She's like, oh God, I think you were dying, man. So, So let's move on to someone else who was dying on this show. Let's talk about Asuka facing off against Bayley, and boy, what I guess you would almost say, I guess we can say it now, a final match in NXT for Bayley. And boy, I mean, Paul, you love to say it. Asuka kills with those kicks, and she was killing Bayley in this match with him, and she won with a kick to Bayley's head.
Straight up murder. Straight up murder. I thought this was a fun match. It was really good. It's short and sweet and to the point. And, I mean, you really got everything you need to know from the entrance. Bayley, coming out for a last hurrah, and Asuka coming out with the white veil, almost like the bride-to-be of the NXT Women's Division. I really dug that.
Yeah, I mean, I did too. Patrick, how did you feel about that?
I did like the extra wacky waving inflatable arms doing to men. I thought that was a nice touch. And yeah, the both entrances were really cool. I did like that this was a bit more even because, Dallas was a little bit of an ass kicking for Asuka on Bayley. So I did like that this was a little more evenly paced between everything. I thought it was a really good match, and there were definitely a lot of false finishes. But I just thought I won't lie. At times, I thought this was actually better than the NXT Championship match.
Okay, I'm up. Yeah, no, I'm probably going to jump in here, and actually, I don't like to agree with too many people, but I'm going to have to agree with you there. There was parts of this match that made me feel like it was the match of the night, and I was trying to think to myself, and I hate to think like this. I'm thinking, okay, well, what's Joe and Shinsuke going to do next to top this? And that's not the way you should be thinking, especially on NXT. I liked this match. Like I said, I think I'm more and more convinced that the crowd at Brooklyn and the crowd in Dallas, I don't think anything's going to beat the crowd in London. And maybe that's just, we can talk about crowds later. But I mean, as far as London's support of Bayley and the way London was just all over the place with the chants, maybe that's just kind of adds to the experience for me with NXT. But Asuka laying in one kick after another, and I have to be impressed, guys, with Bayley. Holy smoke, she was taking those kicks like a champ. And, I mean, Bayley showed a side of me that, okay, she's ready. She's now finally ready for the main roster. Are they going to try to, some people kind of ask me, are they going to kind of try to switch up her character a little bit, try to get her off the teeny bopper, kind of shit that they got going on there? I'm not trying to say it's shit. It's fun. I mean, you got Izzy crying at the end. I mean, that tells you everything about where Bayley's going. It's what's attracted, so much more of this bigger female fan base, which is great. But I want to know if Bayley's ready to move on to the next level. I think she showed me a lot in the way she battled Asuka, and she obviously gave a hug to Asuka at the end. Asuka's fantastic. I mean, she up and down. She just knows how to win a match, and she's dominating now in this league. So I'm with you. I thought this match was probably slightly better than Nakamura and Joe. So I was impressed. I was very satisfied.
And Chet, Izzy wasn't the only one crying. I had a few tears myself.
No. But the thing is, we were all waiting to see Izzy's reaction. Let's not lie. I mean, Izzy's there. She needs to get her little 15 seconds, and they showed her. So.
Yeah, they did. I'm just glad they didn't show me.
You did cry. You really did.
No,
it's called life. Can't deal with it.
Yeah, no, man, but it's just one of those things. Maybe it's just my time of the month or something, but it happens.
Wow.
I
did not want to. Oh God, Gary.
I didn't cry.
Bayley helped launch it, so let's not. Yeah. And Bayley is obviously a reason everybody should love her. So.
No, I mean, honestly, I am emotional about it, but I didn't cry. I did kind of, feel that whole feeling of like, oh, man, this is kind of sad. Sean, I mean, looking at that, I mean, it's a great finale for me, for Bayley on NXT. I think they did a good job on that.
Yeah, that certainly was. I think the whole thing is they told a wonderful story of, and I thought the match was great for that reason, because it was Bayley overcoming. Her being scared of Asuka at first, and her making that step of saying, "Hey, I'm not gonna just lay down here. I'm gonna come at you, and I'm gonna do everything I can of you're gonna have to win this thing." Just her with a slap at the end and telling her, "No, come on, kick me again." Like just that stuff was great, and Bayley put on one heck of a performance. For me, I think the bigger question is what's next? Who's next for Asuka? Because there is nobody at her level right now in NXT currently. You can try to build somebody up, but at that same level, there's nobody. You had Bayley and Asuka and then everybody else. And that's kind of how it is.
Ooh, you got a good point there. You really do, and I can't even name anybody offhand. I just don't know.
I can.
Who?
We'll get to it.
Okay.
Yeah, I know we'll get to it. I know.
Oh, yes, we will.
Okay, so we'll get to it. But before we get to that, I want to talk
I don't
about
think Ember Moon's ready either, if that's who you're referring to, but that's fine.
Okay, well,
she looked
go ahead.
very rough around the edges in that match. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so let's talk about that then. Fine, we won't go completely.
Well, we combined the two women's matches on the last show, so we might as well
do it. Let's do it. Amber Moon.
To me, look, like honestly, I thought the match was okay, but she should have been in a squash because the botch hurt the match in this one. They had a botch in the Bayley and the Asuka match, but I thought they covered for that much better. Ember got to showcase all the stuff she does. But I've seen her in other matches where she has the same issue. She is not very smooth every time she does. She's smooth at doing her finisher, which is amazing because that finish is crazy. But there's times where she can look very rough. And so I think she's maybe in the perfect place where I think through NXT we're going to see her grow and get better. And she can get to that spot with Asuka. But I think if you're going to talk about somebody that's ready right this minute, I don't think they have anybody. Maybe you want to build up Billie Kay, but she's a heel.
No.
So, I just think, honestly, if NXT wants to be cool about this, go find some people outside of WWE and bring them in for one-shots against Asuka, and you start building up that division around her until maybe you do a couple of one-shots. I don't know, maybe hell, I don't know how much you'd have to pay. Go see if you can get Io Shirai from Stardom or some, anybody that sort of has sort of a big name in women's wrestling, and just see if they're willing to work with WWE and have her have the match with Asuka, and do a couple of those, and you build up somebody, and finally for the next takeover, or maybe the next takeover after that, you have somebody built up and you go, okay, here's the big match. Here's the person that's going to beat Asuka and look like a freaking star.
Is Gallows' wife still good champion?
God, don't bring Amber O'Neil
She's
in
an Evolve
there.
right now, but no.
Okay.
Isn't she in her 50s?
No, she's in her 40s.
Amber O'Neil?
Still,
yeah, she's in her 40s.
But still, nah.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I think she's still the NWA World Women's Champion.
Is she? Okay. I was wondering about that.
Yeah. Cheerleader Melissa's not available. She's at Lucha Underground.
I don't know that Crazy Mary Duff's is the person either, because they had her do a one-shot, and, she didn't do that well in that match, but they signed her at least, so.
Some weird reason.
So, getting into this, Amber Moon versus Billie Kay, looking at this whole thing, I mean, I think, a decent match here, but I mean, it had its problems, I agree, but, I think it was okay. I didn't hate it or anything. Chet, what did you think about the entrance for Amber Moon here? Do you think it would kind of built that suspense even more?
Oh, I thought it was good. I had no problem with Ember Moon's entrance. I had a lot of problems with Billie Kay's. Was it me? Maybe I'm hearing this incorrectly. Did Billie Kay tweak her theme song when she came out? Because it didn't sound like the same. And it kind of pissed me off. I'm just saying. But for Billie Kay, she didn't show me anything going into this match. So I was kind of like, okay, she asked for it. She was up front with Regal. And she got her opportunity, and she did show me more than she ever showed me last night. So I was definitely satisfied with that. Ember Moon was great. I mean, you know, she was kind of what, I don't know about great. Great's a big word. I'm going to say good. She was good in the ring. And of course, I think she got the win because, I mean, there's just no way they're going to have her in the debut that lost. But I don't know, that they tweaked Billie Kay's theme song. And I know I look at the little things, guys, but that just kind of messed me up a little bit. I don't like that. I don't like things getting messed with when it comes to theme songs and people coming out.
Well, see, so, that's the thing. You wanted, was it you or was I think it was Patrick that wanted you take the violin out of the song. See, then you might have had a ton of people in the crowd that are pissed about the fact that you mess with Nakamura's song there. So, you know. Yeah,
I don't know. It's, you know, I'm all about the arrangements. You know, I always look at the arrangements as much as, I mean, I love the wrestling. Don't get me wrong. That's where number one goes. But I mean, I always look at the arrangements because that's what pay-per-views are all about. It's all about the show. So you're looking at every little thing that kind of happens, and you know they kind of tweak that. So I'm like, okay, but Billie Kay just doesn't really show me enough to move up on the ladder. I mean, I don't know about you guys. She didn't show me enough to move up on the ladder or anything. She was okay. She was good, better than she's ever been, but moving up, nah.
No, they won't bring Billie Kay up anytime soon. The match is fine. I think Athena's a great wrestler. The O-Face is just an incredible finisher. Has she had better? Sure. I think Billie Kay is struggling to find her way as a heel because she's spent so much of her career playing as a face. And she's really good as a face. So it's a different mindset for her right now that she's trying to work through. As far as what you do with the women's division, I don't think it really matters. I think you go back to what you had with Sasha or Charlotte during their reigns, where in between takeovers you just had them face everybody, and whoever sort of impresses you or steps up is who you go with eventually.
I'm almost wondering if we get Carmella for some strange reason. I mean, trust me, I've seen Athena do way better, but it was also part of it that sucked was the fact that the biggest reaction that Ember Moon got was when she hit the O-Face. And yes, I'm still going to call it that because they don't even have a name for it yet. So, but I don't care about any of your guys' opinions. That was a 10 out of 10 match, and anyone who disagrees can kiss my ass.
Okay. I have I can hit the end button on this call. Try to talk to me like that.
No.
That was your first warning. But anyway, I'm kidding.
But I mean, it was not a great match, which sucks because, like I said, I've seen firsthand both Ember Moon, you know, as Athena, and Billie Kay as, you know, obviously Jessie McKay. I've seen them both do better, and, you know, it probably didn't help that they only had, I think the match only went 4.5 minutes, which didn't help, you know. So it's just, first impression wasn't great. I'm interested to see more and see what they can do in the future. But I would dare make the prediction that by the time we get to Orlando, I think the women's title match in Orlando will be Asuka versus Ember Moon, because it seems like they just put the rocket up Ember's ass and are just going to shoot her straight up.
Oof.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I mean, she's the only viable candidate I can think of right now as Ember Moon.
Which luckily they have 8 months. They have 8 months to get it there.
Yeah, you got plenty of time.
To be fair, they do have Nikki Glencross, and they have a few others that they could build up that we don't even know what they could be yet. So
to take Asuka, though, I mean, just
we don't know.
I'm just trying to look at it realistically.
We're looking at just their plain Jane. When Bayley first showed up and she wasn't Bayley yet, did we think anything of her? No.
True. No, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, so I think we all kind of set our piece on that. Let's go ahead and move on to another big match on this card. Let's talk about the Revival defending their NXT tag titles against one of my favorite guys in the whole world, Tommaso Ciampa, and of course Johnny Wrestling himself, Johnny Gargano. And this was really...
Gary, you can call it the team you want to call it, the Ciampa carry job team or whatever it is that you.
The Ciampa carries.
It's Tommaso Ciampa and the guy he carries. That's the name of the tag team. So saying that, I got to give both those guys their props. Both of them were doing well, and of course the Revival. Man, I can't say enough about this match, Sean. I mean, I was really enthralled with it. I really loved it. I don't know. How did you feel?
This was a showcase in how you do tag team wrestling, and I don't know, man. You need to go find me a match that was better than this as far as tag team wrestling goes this year. The Revival just get it. They know. They do all the little things. They do all the little things so wonderfully well. And Gargano and Ciampa were great in this as well. I mean, just Gargano with all that heart, all that everything. Ciampa coming in there, doing his stuff. I mean, just these guys meshed very, very well. And that really close near fall I was like, oh man, damn it. Like, that they had it and they didn't have it. And, and it really feels like that, your Ciampa and the guy he carries, they're about to not be a team very soon. They're very slowly seeming to tease that they might be going their separate ways. Perhaps the Tag Team Classic will be the finality of that. But, man, just great stuff all around here.
Yeah, makes me very happy if that does take place sooner than later. I can finally buy I can finally buy Ciampa's T-shirt and show it proudly, wear it everywhere I go for 30 days. Saying all that
for 30 days, what's he going to get suspended?
30 days.
I'm just imagining once that takes place, I'm going to get suspended from my wife because she's going to hate the T-shirt. So I'm going to be staying with Paul. But anyway,
that's fair.
Paul's probably like.
Paul's like.
Overall,
go ahead.
Overall, I was thoroughly entertained by this tag team match. I mean, definitely. I mean, one of the best tag team matches of the year for sure. I'm with you guys on that. A lot of close calls. Both teams went back at it, back and forth, and it ended with Gargano tapping out. You're right, Gargano and Ciampa. More and more, it just seems like those two who can work together work better against each other. Because those two had like the match of the year at Cruiserweight at CWC. Or one of the matches of the year, I would say. So you're right. I would like to see, Johnny Wrestling kind of do his own thing and the Psycho Killer, Ciampa kind of go on his own too. But it was a great match. I think it was a lot. Nothing to take away from the Revival. They got the win at the end, and I was very entertained and just back and forth they went. That's nothing more to add there.
I think this match is partially to blame as to why the crowd seemed kind of out of it by the time we got to Nakamura and Joe. Because, hang on. This match took it absolutely out of them. And then Bayley and Asuka had to work their damnedest and managed to get them back to, somewhat of a I don't want to say fever pitch, but somewhat of a good reaction that I think by the time we got to Joe Nakamura, the crowd was just tired. This match was fantastic. And I'm saying this as someone who still not 100% sold on the Revival, really didn't like them winning the belts back at TakeOver at the end of the beginning. Obviously, we realized why a week later when American Alpha was drafted. But this was a fantastic match, and I'm saying this is a huge Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Wrestling fan. you know, and yeah, you can absolutely see that they're inching towards Ciampa and Gargano splitting up and hopefully feuding, because that would be a fantastic match between them. So I'm excited to see where it goes and see, well, pardon the pun, who's next for the Revival. And I do think that them calling out the teams, you know, will take on anybody from any company anywhere in the world. I think that's going to play into the catalyst for the next Dusty Rhodes Classic. You know, that way they'll bring in teams from any company from around the world. I think that plays into it.
Well, and you talked about the two Gargano and Ciampa wrestling. I mean, they did at CWC, and we saw how fantastic it was when they took on each other. And when you see those two go at it in one of the best matches I've ever seen, you're right. I mean, that just exemplifies the point that these two probably will be going on to their own ways and having some great matches against each other.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'll split eventually sometime, but honestly, I think that's secondary to the fact that the Revival claiming the title of being the best tag team in the world. I don't think there's a better tag team right now ever anywhere, no matter what you're watching. The Revival, just as Sean said, they get it. They know how to work a tag team style match the best. They work the heat so well. They get everything going for the baby faces, and right when you think the baby face is about to win, they kick you in the dick and go the other way and win. And that's just the best.
That spot where Dash like trips over himself in the ring on accident or whatever, like that was just so awesome. Just like, damn it, man. I hate you, but shit, that was good.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, the Revival, like you guys, you've been praising them. I praise them.
And what makes me sad, Gary, is like I feel like the main roster is not going to get it.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
And unless they're working like American Alpha or something like that, it's just like, oh, I hope the main roster gets them, because they're just too good to just be sitting there in NXT.
Yeah, and to flounder on the main roster after doing all these great things on NXT, that scares the heck out of me too. I think the best chance to get them success is to change that stinking song of theirs, the theme song. I hate that. I cannot stand their intro. I wish
love
they had
their song.
I know. Me and you defer completely on that.
Wait, are we talking about the Revival?
The Revival's theme song. He hates it.
Yeah, that song's not good.
Terrible. Phil Collins would have been better for that than what they got. But anyway.
Just say yeah, Gary.
Phil Collins would have been greater for like almost anyone. That's just that's terrible to a terrible comparison.
Okay. I won't go anywhere else. This is not Music Theory once again. So
we need to have a Music Theory podcast.
Yeah, I know. Eventually we'll get there. But anyway, we're going to move on, and Patrick, we got to talk about Bobby Roode. That's right, the glorious one himself. He had debuted, and he faced off against Andrade Cien Almas. I'm trying to say it correctly. And, well, let's be honest. Bobby Roode won, and I expected it, but, I mean, I don't know about you. Did you feel like this match ended up the way it was in your mind?
Screw the match. Talk about the entrance first.
Let's go to Music Theory again.
Here we go. It was a glorious.
No, it's got nothing to do with the music. We all, we've known about, the glorious theme song for weeks. My God, that entrance, that Shawn Michaels WrestleMania 25-esque entrance from coming down from the rafters. My God. My question before I even get to the match: when did Bobby Roode turn into Ric Flair?
Yeah. When didn't he turn into Ric Flair?
He's sort of been that for a long time.
I mean, because let's be honest, he was doing some strutting in that robe.
I mean, when you're that over, how do you not strut? That's what I asked.
Very true. In terms of the match itself, I mean, how do you put this? It was meant to be a showcase for Bobby, but at the same time, I think part of it was also him partially also doing what he was most likely brought into NXT to do, which was help put over younger talent. Bobby Roode said it himself. It's been 18 years. I don't think he's got too many years left. I won't say that it's, 1 or 2 kind of thing, but, 5. So I've got no complaints about the match and how it ended up going. I thought it was, a pretty good match, but I mean, the entire talk of that time was just the crowd going ape shit for Bobby Roode, and his glorious intro.
What did you think, Chet?
I thought it was solid. I thought the intro was was very good. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. The match itself was okay. I mean, it was like maybe a C+ overall. I mean, Bobby showed me what he wanted to show me, and he obviously got the win. It went the way I wanted to go. Was the match glorious? No. Was the introduction glorious? Yes. And the best part was the crowd, including myself at home with my buddies, singing the song. I mean, singing his theme song. Because I don't know about you guys, that song's awesome. And, I mean, I use it for my workout routines. Getting ready for a big game. I mean, you just, I think his whole persona is fantastic. Does he have that Ric Flair kind of thing to him going on? Yes. But I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't know about you.
Hey, Paul, you still have that as your ringtone, right?
It is my ringtone.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I love the song. I love the match. I love the entrance. The match is interesting because it's almost a showcase for Andrade, in my opinion. He really gets to show off a lot of the stuff he can do, especially when he doesn't. He's not confined to a 4 or 5 minute match where he's squashing somebody. And I think he sold well for Roode, although the only complaint I have is Bobby, a pump handle slam is not a finisher in 2016. I'm sorry.
A belly to belly is.
I'll buy a belly to belly from here until the end of time. I will not buy a pump handle slam.
I just got a text.
You're
from
just
Kenny.
a mark for Shane Douglas.
Well, here it is. I just got a text from the cabinet from Ring of Honor, and they said it is a finisher.
They're lying to you, buddy.
Oh, well, they're the old school guys, I guess. So
you can't trust politicians, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it didn't look good when Road Dogg did it. It's certainly not going to look good when Bobby Roode does it. I get that he can't do the Roode bomb because it looks too close to the AAA or whatever. So, but I mean, what's wrong
let him use
with
his
the
spine buster?
Yeah, well, and you can't. That's Carl Anderson's move.
Change Carl's.
So what's wrong
I don't
with?
mind it at all.
No.
Stop nitpicking, guys. I didn't mind it at all.
Hey, just because you didn't. Look here. No, let him do the Fishman suplex or whatever. That move is whatever. It was also dumb. It doesn't look glorious compared to the rest of it, Mm-hmm. So I mean,
it's a breath of fresh air.
The entrance is awesome.
Sure.
He looked like a star the minute he comes out. The match was good. This is the best Andrade Cien Almas has ever looked. And that's due to him too. I think it's just Almas actually felt comfortable here. He got to do a lot more, and he didn't feel like he was trying to do a million things at once. He felt like more in tune with what you normally see. Just it's the same thing. He's just a guy. He needs to have something, a character, something. Turn him heel, maybe. I don't know. They were booing him. I don't know. He needs to have some kind of personality.
Wait, who are we talking about
Everybody's
here?
going to get booed when you put him against the glorious one.
I know, but he didn't get he's had bad track record going against guys that NXT really likes, but
yeah, Almost doesn't really have it going on right now. He needs to kind of build that personality a little bit more, and I think that's going to be over with time, I guess. Because with NXT, it's tough because sometimes you just don't get that time. Sometimes you're there and you're not meant to be there every week or every other week. Sometimes you kind of get sprinkled in. Could be a prelude to the next match we're going to talk about, but But you're right. Yeah, he's got to work on his personality.
Yeah, and I think he's got to change the look. The clothes are not good. The suspenders do not work. I'm sorry. In fact, personally, and this is the honest truth, I kind of felt it was borderline racist. And to be honest with you, I did not like that. I really did, because to me it's kind of a stereotype, and I didn't appreciate it much. But that's just me. I think they definitely do. Almost deserves a better look, and I think he deserves maybe some opponents that he can shine, and it's not him being equal to. We all know Bobby Roode was going to be the guy that everybody cared about. I think Bobby Roode, definitely does need to change the finisher. I know it's nitpicking, but I feel like he deserves something better than that.
But that's the only thing. Like, everything else about him is fine.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, all right. Well, we talked enough about that. Let's talk about another former TNA guy, in Austin Aries. He faced off against No Way Jose, and this was a match that people were looking forward to, just because this got pretty heated. But here we are, and I think that we got a pretty decent match out of these two guys. Austin Aries does win with a submission. Chet, overall, what was your thoughts?
They opened up the show with No Way Jose coming out. It's perfect. It was strategically the right move. And he was good. He was really good in this match. And I've heard kind of Corey Graves really kind of jump on No Way Jose. But when he wrestles, when he's focused, when he's away from all that dancing and all that stuff that he does on the side, he's a pretty darn good wrestler. Austin Aries, we got what we wanted out of him. He came in there 110%, put the finisher on, and boom. Once you put that last chancery on, there's no chance. And No Way Jose just had nowhere to go. And I'm a little surprised, but I'm not. I guess I'm 50-50 on this, because I did predict No Way Jose to get the win. Just because I thought Austin Aries just really wasn't kind of doing too much. I thought they were going to try to put No Way Jose over. But at the other side, we talked about how Aries didn't have very many wins, and he needed to get this one. I just don't know where they're going with Austin Aries from here, because he's not the youngest.
They did it at the end. They did it at the end. They told you what they're going with him.
Wait, what are we talking about?
With Itami. That's what he's doing.
Oh, with Itami, right. Forgive me. That's where they're going with that. Okay. Forgive me. They did have Itami. I blacked out there for a second.
Itami
it was
so brief.
It was really brief, and that's my fault. That is where they're going to go with it, and I think that's going to be a great match. Here's the thing, though: the overall picture on Arias makes me concerned, because he's not a spring chicken. He's older. So now it's where do you kind of keep going with him, because he's, obviously the greatest man that ever lived and all that stuff. And I don't know. I just don't know if there's enough pop factor for him down the road. But him and Itami, that'll be good, and we can go from there. But overall, with the match, I liked it.
I think the main event scene's pretty clear cut for NXT. You have the next NXT special is going to be Aries Itami, and you're going to have Nakamura and Joe rematch, and then after that you do Itami and Nakamura, and there's the money. That's all the money right there. And this match right here, though, this is really good. I think this is No Way Jose's best match. He gets to really show a different side of himself, somebody who's clearly invested in the feud, and he can hit pretty gosh darn hard when he wants to, and that Aries might have hit the best through the middle and bottom rope dive that he's ever hit in his life, because that was pretty darn impactful.
Yeah, it is pretty impactful. You're right, and I just think overall, when you look at this, a fun match to watch, and of course Hideo Itami coming down and doing his thing, including Patrick hitting the go to sleep, which we haven't seen since CM Punk.
And I'm glad he wasn't mentioned. Like, seriously, I'm actually glad that they didn't try to, start a Twitter storm or anything like that by having to mention, hey, that's CM Punk's move. No, it's not. But yeah, I was pleased with the match. I do, like was mentioned, I do kind of question why No Way Jose couldn't pick up the win, but that's kind of nitpicking, and at the same time, we kind of got the answer to that right after with Tommy, hitting the GTS. The one thing I've realized, this was a very heel-heavy show as well, much like the show that would follow the next night. Because you had the 6 matches, heels win 4 out of the 6, but of the 2 face wins, one's kind of a toss-up, being the Ember Moon. So I do like that they started off the show specifically with No Way Jose, but I still kind of would have liked to see Jose pick up the win. Just as a way to, kind of start what was, a pretty hot crowd, and I think it could have kept them up, but once again, that's nitpicking at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Sean, do you have any final thoughts, anything on this?
Yeah, this was really good. I enjoyed this. This is one of those matches I had no expectations coming in, and they blew me away as far as just, wow, okay. I totally look at No Way Jose much differently than I did previous to this match. This is Aries' best match in NXT, and this is No Way Jose's best outing in NXT. They just really worked well together, and I thought because of the fact, again, like there was a lot of talk, we said, okay, that Nakamura match with Aries was very good and whatever, but it felt like both guys going at half speed. This felt like Aries brought everything, No Way Jose brought everything. No Way Jose had a point to this match. He was so into it because he's trying to get revenge on Aries for doing that, the knocking him out while he's dancing. And Jose, dude, like Paul said, man, that like lariat that he hits on Aries just out of nowhere, like, oh God, he turned him inside out and everything. And those baseball punches, like, ouch.
It felt like these guys had watched some G1 going into this because they worked the Ghetto special pretty quick too.
Yeah, they did too. Yeah.
Man, so, once again, I mean, a fun match to watch. And I think all these matches have things we could sit here and go on and on and on about. And, of course, you can nitpick it if you want to. So.
And I will say this, though. We talked about it on the SummerSlam thing, about the heels and all that stuff. But I like the fact that we can have the heels win. And and especially on this NXT, I mean, yeah, you did have some of the stuff with the Revival or whatever, but it's generally like just, okay, he won. It's not like shenanigan BS or whatever. Like, they were just the better person. And that's okay. Like, it doesn't have to be the chicken shit heel wins every time, It just can be, okay, Asuka was just better than Bayley. Revival, they did all their tricks and whatever, and they just found a way to win, but they were better in this instance, But in both shows, you had the face get the big moment. You had Nakamura get the big moment of winning. You had Balor get the big moment of winning. So I think it sort of gets offset. When you're going to have the big moment, it's sort of okay for the heels to win some of the other matches.
But at the same time, even though you know that, but if you're going to hammer the crowd into the ground before that, it almost seems like they're trying to save face for the end. Or save face at the end. Because, Nakamura gets the big moment with the title win, but he wins the first match, he wins the second match, the unknown face wins the third, and then heel wins, the tag title match after an incredible match that blew the crowd out of the water. And then Asuka, because let's be honest, even though they're both face, nobody wanted Bayley to lose. So Asuka would be the face or would be the heel for this match, and Asuka still picks up the win. So, yeah, it's great that Nakamura gets it at the end, but you have to give the crowd a little bit to at least keep them into the show.
I don't think you can say the entire crowd was into the show the entire time here in Brooklyn. They might have gotten quiet at certain parts, but they were into it the whole time.
I don't think it was NXT's, I guess you can say NXT's direction, so to speak, to have the crowd out of it by the main event like you were saying. I think that just happened. I don't know if they were into it the whole show. I mean, they tried. And like I said, I don't think anything's going to beat NXT TakeOver London as far as crowds. that was the best one. They came up with the best chants. They came up with the songs, and they were all into it. And it just kind of carried over into Dallas, and now here into Brooklyn, the end. And this venue was really, really big. And like you said, I don't know if the whole crowd was NXT diehard like it was in Dallas. So, I don't know. Like you said, the crowd wasn't fully into it. We can debate that all night, but I think overall it was a great event.
Yeah, so talking about this event overall, let's go ahead and do our ratings. Of course, we do this from a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. And, of course, we're going to do a little carryover here because I think there's some varying opinions, maybe, possibly, on a MVP. I think I'd love to hear from each of you guys on who you think deserves that MVP rating for this NXT Takeover Brooklyn 2. We'll start with you, Chet. What's your rating and, of course, your MVP?
Start with me again. I'm going to go with, man, that's tough. I don't like to give 10s unless I really feel a 10. I felt really good about this, though. The Bobby Roode match kind of, I guess I'm going to give it a 9, and that's pretty good. I'll give it a 9. MVP... Oh, boy, that's tough. Yeah, let's go with Asuka.
Fair enough. All right, Patrick, you're up.
For a rating, I can't go super high. I can't go 9 and 10 just because there were a few things that just rubbed the wrong way and things like that just happen. But I'll still go, with an 8, which for, takeover standards is actually, a poor score. But this was by no means a bad show. It just seemed like there were things that didn't mesh well and things that people may have found kind of questionable. But by absolutely zero means was this a bad show at any way, shape, or form. And for an MVP, I'm going to go with the other half of the women's title match and say Bayley, just because, she could have attempted to phone it in, even though she probably would have gotten knocked the hell out by Asuka if she did attempt to phone it in, on what probably will be her last takeover before she makes the big jump. But she absolutely had yet another amazing match for the title and proved why she is the female heart and soul of NXT on her way out. So, yeah, absolutely with Bayley.
Paul?
Giving the show an 8. It was great. It was a really fun time. 2 hours fly by. There's not really a bad match on here. And, MVP of the show for me is the Revival. No, the Coming Out Party is the best tag team in the world. You can't really top that.
I'm going to go 8.5. Just, you had the very, very great, depending on where you have your matches, maybe match of the year contender in the tag title match. You got a great women's title match. You got a very good title match, or the NXT title match with the title change for Nakamura to kind of set things into, we're going with the guy that's the hot hand right now, which is very unlike NXT. A lot of times they wait forever and don't even do it. Case in point with, Enzo and Cass and some others. But I'm glad that they sort of just said, okay, look, before this gets to a point where maybe Vince tells me tomorrow that he wants Nakamura, let's give him the title and see what happens. I thought they did a great job of reestablishing Tommy, and now he has both of his finishers. I mean, how awesome is that going to be for Tommy now? Like, he can hit you with that running knee, or he can hit you with the GTS. Or he can just hit you with a kick and knock you out of the damn ring, for all we know. So, Rude and Ari, everybody looked good here. Nobody looked bad. So it's just, to me, this was another tremendous show that it maybe not on par as with some of the, top great ones, but, still, when have they really had a terrible NXT Takeover, and just, man, makes you always excited that maybe the TV has lost a bit of its luster, but these Takeover shows deliver.
And who's your
Who's your MVP?
Man, I'm gonna have to go with the Revival. I mean, you can easily make the case for Bayley or Asuka, certainly, but man, the Revival just again showed everything that it takes to be that top tag team right now.
Yeah, I'm in totally agreement to that. That's who I had marked on my MVP list for this show, and I think the Revival just doing it the best of anybody right now when it comes to the tag team division. And I'm going to give it an 8. I think you guys said a lot of great things. I think it could be higher if I really taught myself into it, but I feel like, I need to stay smart and keep it an 8 because I know eventually there's going to be a show that blows me away so much that I'll have a hard time containing myself, and that 9 will be very, easy to come by at that time. Remember, my scale always differs because a 10 is always if Ken Shamrock is on the show. So, all right, well, we will move on and just let you guys know, of course, if you did not get a chance to listen to it yet, we got a chance to talk SummerSlam, and that was on another show. That was Wrestling Unwrapped to the Max. You don't want to miss that. Go check out that show where we did talk SummerSlam 2016, gave you all our thoughts, all our opinions. You don't want to miss that. Of course, Chet was with us, and of course, Patrick and me and Sean were a part of that. So you don't want to miss it if you haven't heard it yet. And a place to go find that show, and of course, this one, if you don't know, and if you're not subscribed, the W2M Network. It's very easy to find. Just go on any podcasting situation that you're using, iTunes, Podcast Addict, whatever you use to find your podcast, go on there, subscribe. We're there, Stitcher, all those great places. And of course, you can find us. We have a Facebook group, Wrestling to the Max. That's a great place to go and check out wrestling and discussions. People go in there all day long, 24/7, and talk a lot of good, things, and of course some of the negative things in wrestling. So you don't want to miss that. And of course, I want to make sure that these guys get a chance to give their places where they're from, where you can find them. That way that you can maybe say, hey, I agree with you or disagree with you. So, Chet, once again, we'll start with you. Give us your Twitter handle. How can people talk to you about this NXT Takeover?
Yes, I'm all over Twitter 24/7 at Chet_Yoder. That's at CHET_Yoder, YODER. Please come at me, come after me. You got to bring it. Don't suck. Just have fun.
I like that. That's awesome. And Patrick, give us where we can find you.
Real quick, I'm sure you've heard this a lot, but tweet the lots you do, Mr. Yoder. As always, at Pat Ketza for my personal account, or at WU Official for Wrestling Unwrapped. Harry Brockhurst and myself are back in 2 weeks with an asterisk. Hopefully, maybe, probably, not guaranteed. Where we will continue to review the best and worst in wrestling DVDs, although we may not be doing a review in 2 weeks for our return, but more info on that at facebook.com/Wrestling Unwrapped. So you can find us pretty much anywhere.
Awesome. I love it. And, of course, you can find myself, Sean, and Paul on Wrestling to the Max. We do 2 shows a week, Part 1 and Part 2. We also do our Raw and SmackDown reviews as well. So a full week of wrestling is what you get from us just in various times. Go check out all those shows during the week. We appreciate everybody who's been checking us out. And thank you for listening. This has been a lot of fun for all of us. We appreciate everybody for checking us out. And once again, this is just a lot of fun. I appreciate both Chet and, of course, Patrick for joining us for this NXT Takeover Brooklyn 2. It's been a blast for for all of us to be, in one accord in here and having a great time doing it. So, without any further ado, for myself, for Paul, Sean, Chet, and, of course, Patrick, if you're not living life to the max,
Not living life at all. Paul.
You know it.
I was like, wait.
All right, watching Brock murder Randy.
God.
187. Peace, people.